Hello again, and welcome back to DC Deep Dive. Today we're going to be discussing a topic that may hint at me being terminally online, just a bit, but that still feels worth bringing up. But first, a big thank you to my wonderful patrons for making these episodes possible. Links below. Now then, the exact phenomena I am discussing today is a common fandom perception that Batman is all about restorative justice, or that he's all about brutalizing the criminal scum of the world, that he just wants Arkham inmates to get help and former prisoners to go straight, or that he is about bringing violence and justice to criminals and none of this namby-pamby nonsense. Also, I swear one day we will talk about propaganda in comics. I promise. For restorative justice Batman, the DCAU's Batman is one of the most popular figures cited. That scene where he gives Harley back her dress and sympathises with her about having a bad day is a favoured example, but it's just one of many.
You were going to try and talk me into fixing what I've changed. Before I die.
Yes.
I'm dying very soon.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Could you stay with me? I'm scared.
In comics, there's stuff like Bruce lecturing Jason Todd of all people on how drugs affect poor communities and are distributed, because it totally makes sense for him to be the lecturing Jason on that. Why? And then they usually just generally lean on the idea that Bruce might be distant or aloof, but he's a loving man who just wants to help people. Thus, they view fandom takes on Batman where he is cruel, manipulative and abusive to just be out of character. It's to be the domain of the edgelords and a couple of writers whose work belongs in AU sections of the Batman canon like Dark Knight Returns, not the real Batman. Naturally, this isn't taken well by a lot of people who prefer Batman to work alone as a sole avenger who metes out justice with his fists and can't be constrained by anyone because he does what's necessary. The thing is, both sides are actually kind of right. Yeah, sorry to pull that one on you, but it's true. Because as I've mentioned before, Batman is over 80 years old. That is a long time and a lot of writers, let alone an evolving culture, to take into consideration. Batman's first comics came out when America's mafias had real power and a presence in society. This is why organised crime is still woven into the bedrock of Gotham, even if they have faded to the background more as a result of cultural shift. Meanwhile, early 2000s Batman was written around the peak of the war on drugs combined with the war on terror. This is why you'll get stuff like drugs that literally just kill you and Bruce threatening dealers with sexual assault in prison. But for now, let's zero in on Batman's penchant to use, finger quotes, enhanced interrogation techniques, let's cut the subtext and just call it terror and torture, on suspects. This is something that goes against the I just want people to get better and I believe in restorative justice stance, but as much as one might hate it, be that for its dehumanization of the criminal element, the glorification of torture, which is both evil and ineffective, or because one might feel it doesn't fit him, it very much does. Batman's often all about violating people's civil liberties, their human rights and basic dignities. Batman will happily brutalize and torture people for information or just to make a point.
What the hell is this?
Please don't! Oh God!
I start here and keep breaking until you answer.
Let me speak! If you kill me, you won't know where he is! No! 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 touching my head! No! I'll tell you, I swear!
Dude, what the f*** is wrong with you?
And yes, this even applies to the Batman who is most often cited as the best Batman, the original animated series Batman. Dangling people off roofs became so commonplace to him that the Justice League cartoons ended up making a joke about it.
Ah!
Where's Kronos? My arm's getting tired. I can't believe I was ever that green. This is how you interrogate someone.
Ah! Hey, come on! For pity's sake! Ah, it's Marin!
If you want to suffer in silence, that's fine by me.
Ah, okay.
And yeah, one can say this runs contrary to some of his stated goals or moments of kindness with these very same people. But, well, I think people who try to dismiss it as out of character because of that are perhaps a touch off base, because the thing is, people contain multitudes for both good and ill. Batman is both capable of comforting a crying child and also brutalizing that child's parent into a hospital. People are filled with contradictions and they manifest it all the time, be it in minor or extreme ways, such as an abusive or unhealthy relationship, hypocritical policies, or plain old double standards. And similarly, one might argue that his moments of compassion or offering jobs to former criminals go against the idea of him being vengeance and the night and so on. Now, one might argue that that wasn't a read intended by the writers, but I don't think that actually matters. Batman is a composite character called together from so many writers and eras that saying, if your Batman does X, he's not a real Batman, is a meaningless statement because he's probably done it. This is why I tend to find posts that talk about Batman in super glowing terms, or that aggressively insist if your Batman is cruel, he's wrong, to be just as exhausting as the edgy post about Batman not needing to be tied down and being beyond compassion. These have been traits of Batman for so long and are so ingrained into public consciousness that I don't think they can be meaningfully extracted from his character, certainly not without a total teardown and rebuild of Gotham, Batman and DC's guiding ideologies. That doesn't mean that I'm in favour of keeping his terror and torture aspects, I just feel it's important to acknowledge that they exist and they have always existed, even if I do find them to be morally abhorrent. But even ignoring the moral ills of inadvertently or intentionally dehumanizing people, propping up torture and propaganda, there's a more minor but also fundamental flaw with keeping that trait. It's lazy writing. This is the Batman, who is at any given time either the greatest or one of the greatest detectives in the whole damn world. So why then does his sleuthing consist so much of just violating people's rights or beating them senseless? Again, ignoring the real world or thematic implications, this is just lazy writing. He should be more capable than this. An interesting story should be able to be told without this, and instead by showing his actual detective work. This whole thing is a crutch and undermines the very premise of the character, along with being generally shit. But it is still part of the character, and it's important that we acknowledge that if anything is ever going to be done about it, one way or the other. And that's all. If you would like to support my work, please check out my Patreon linked below, or check out my Ko-fi to commission 3D models. Thanks for stopping by.